Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. My name is Jessica Charmaine, and welcome to my podcast. Now, this is my first ever episode, so it's great to have you all here. And if you do want to follow me on any of my socials, excuse my rumbly, grumbly voice, but if you want to follow me on any of my socials, get to know me, have a chat, they are all down in my description below as well as in my bio. I also, you know, welcome all of you to hit that subscribe button if you'd like to keep up to date with my content that I'll hopefully be posting daily, if not every second day or so. Hoping to keep nice and active and up to date with everything that's going on in the world. And drop me a comment and a like on this video too if you'd like to support me or just give me a bit of feedback. It would be much appreciated. Now, today I wanted to talk a little bit about the current conflict going on in Israel and Palestine. Look, there are a million videos on it, a million different opinions, different voices. However, after watching a recent report, which was surprisingly done by CNN, completely shocked that the mainstream media has decided to actually go and do their job and give an unbiased look at what is going on. So hats off, not literally, because I'm not taking this off to give everyone a view of the hat here, but hats off to them. They've actually done their jobs for once. They've gone and done some absolutely wonderful investigative journalism where they've spoken to some whistleblowers out of the IDF to look at, what kind of abuse is truly occurring. And not just that, but it's just completely shocking that it's not just the regular prisons that they're detaining or putting these prisoners into, these young men, fathers, grandfathers, etc., even little boys are being dragged into these prisons. They've actually got what is called a detention centre, which is much more reminiscent in more than one way to basically a camp out of the World War II era. Something that people still living today would actually, remember quite well. People living in Israel, people that have gone through a similar experience. So it's just completely baffling and shocking that this is allowed to happen and occur in this day and age in a country that was colonized and given to them by the Western world after they went through a very similar thing. Mind blown. This is what taxpayer dollars from the Western countries, such as the US, England, and I know Australia did give them some money too in the beginning. This is what our money has gone to. It's gone into the most heinous of war crimes that I've seen in a very long time. Not that we haven't seen many a heinous war crime in the past 20 odd years. I mean, Iraq, Syria, Ukraine, just countless conflicts. What's happening in Africa at the moment, or has been happening in Africa for quite a long time. It's never ending when it comes to the war machine, unfortunately. War machine is never ending. It is never stopping for nobody. Money is involved. They will go to every length to ensure that these conflicts go for as long as possible and take out as many people as possible and destroy as many buildings as possible, because you've got to have those government contracts. Okay? That's what's most important. So, anywho, getting back on track, CNN, they did this report. We're going to watch some clips of it here and there. Let me know what you guys think down below. When you see these clips, they are just, like I said, mind blown. Let's have a look.
It's a place the Israeli military doesn't want us to see.
How many Palestinian people are in there right now?
Who are you?
Give me please now.
Hang on, what is it that you want? My camera or my card?
But CNN has gained exclusive evidence of Palestinian prisoner abuse from multiple Israeli whistleblowers. At the Sedi Taman facility in southern Israel, we joined human rights activists amid growing public concern for the detainees being held inside. This is a protest by Israeli citizens outside a detention centre close to Gaza, where we know hundreds of Palestinians have been held. You can see it's a closed military facility. It's behind a barbed wire fence. We're not permitted access. And there's hostility.
Just going to stop it there for more than one reason. First of all, just reading the sign that we can see up at the moment, and for those of you that may be listening, we're currently viewing what is their so-called detention centre. There is a group of lovely Israeli citizens there protesting. God bless them. How difficult it must be to live in a country full of such hatred. There are good people there, so we never want to tar everyone with the same brush. I feel so heartbroken for these people who are on the right side of history. They're doing their bit because they cannot stand to see what is going on. So I pray for them. I hope that they are safe and doing well and they continue to do the right thing and speak out against this. But one of the gentlemen is holding up a sign here. One died after they put the electric stick up his anus. So they are literally being physically harmed and tortured in just the most despicable ways, like just sickening, absolutely sickening. Mind-blowing stuff. We'll continue.
From passers-by.
We just had somebody drive past in a car and they shouted out to us in Hebrew, "You're defending murderers."
No.
You're defending, what do you,
no,
how do you
no.
answer that
We're
criticism?
defending basic human rights.
And eyewitnesses are now speaking out. Away from the military facility, near the beaches of Tel Aviv, one young Israeli army reservist agreed to speak about scores of detainees at Sedi Taman. He says are kept in cages or pens, constantly shackled and blindfolded, many for weeks on end. We've hidden his identity and voice to shield him from prosecution.
We were told they are not allowed to move and must sit upright. They're not allowed to talk or peek under their blindfolds.
And what happened if they did do that? What kind of punishments were meted out?
We were allowed to pick out problematic people and punish them, having them stand with their hands above their heads for an unlimited time. If they didn't keep their hands up, we could zip tie them to the fence.
The Israeli military says detainees are handcuffed based on their risk level and health status. But the account tallies with photographic evidence obtained by CNN.
Just look at this photo. This is the photo on my cover picture as well. It is just... You can see the conditions. They are outdoors, lying shackled to each other, side by side, blindfolded. It's despicable. You can hear the treatment of them, and basically they're being told, whoever they think deserves to be punished. Well, according to these soldiers, everyone deserves to be punished. That's why they're there. So they just can indiscriminately go ahead and cause grievous bodily harm to these people who their only crime, a majority of the time, is existing in the eyes of these Zionist pieces of crap. I'm trying to say it in the nicest way possible. It's just very upsetting and very, very disappointing that basically our governments are letting us down so severely. If if they think that it's okay to fund this sort of behaviour, then I think we can safely say that, number one, none of us is safe from their just complete lack of human care and decency. And number two, who's it going to happen to next? Who's next? If we allow these sorts of conflicts, these sorts of behaviours, these sorts of treatments of human beings to occur in this day and age without speaking out about it, then we are just giving them the okay to continue and to get worse every single time. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the direct answer to our complacency and our blindness to all of the wars that have occurred in the past 20 odd years, even more, but definitely in the last 20 odd years. So this is just the beginning, and it's all due to all of us, and I'm completely guilty of it also. You know, not standing up, not going and protesting and not speaking out enough about this. And enough's enough. Now it is time to speak out about it, which is definitely what I'm doing now and what I will continue to do. Hence why this will also be posted to Rumble just in case, because we know that telling the truth in this day and age is not what people want. People want to live in a world of deceit and a world of lies and, you know, fairies and unicorns where we cover up the truth of everything and we sugarcoat it all and we don't want to offend anybody. But that kind of world is going to lead us to complete destruction, unfortunately. So it's time to kick that kind of world to the curb. And when I say take up arms, I don't mean necessarily weapons, but we need to take up our minds, educate ourselves with the facts, with the correct information, not with the mainstream media lies and deceitfulness. We really need to wake up to what's going on. And if the last few years haven't woken us up to the fact that we are completely being lied to on every single front, and that our lives mean literally nothing to governments, to big pharma, to big corporations, to banks, etc., I don't know what will. So if you are still one of those people that think by turning on the 6 o'clock news at dinner time that you are being told a bunch of factual stories and factual information that's going to keep you and your family safe and that your government has your best interest at heart, I'm sorry, but I'm losing my voice so much about it. I'm sorry, but that is just not, it is not reality any longer. I don't think it ever was, really, but it definitely is now at the point where it is inexcusable. We cannot allow it to continue to happen because it's just going to destroy life as we know it, to the point where, if anyone's seen the movie V for Vendetta, yeah, that is the kind of dystopian society I think we are going to be arriving at very, very soon, which is very scary. So, excuse me for butting in so much. We're going to get back to this clip.
Graphic evidence obtained by CNN of Palestinian detainees inside Sedi Tamen, and with hand and wrist injuries shown to CNN by dozens of Palestinians released back into Gaza. I was zip-tied and blindfolded, says this former detainee, and tortured in a way I never imagined. One source telling us the restraints were so tight they had to amputate a man's hand.
The view that I've heard expressed is that, you know, how do you think Israeli hostages are treated by Hamas?
This sentiment was voiced in the facility, but I think that if Hamas is so abominable, which I agree with, then why use Hamas as a bar? It's a descent into dehumanization.
Just stopping it there quickly, again, just look at those injuries that these people have incurred simply just from shackles. So that's not even the punishment. That's not even the punishment that these men are receiving. That is just the simple, we're detaining you, we're popping handcuffs on you. That's the kind of damage they're receiving simply from that. So that again just puts into perspective the kind of damage that is being done to these men physically, mentally, spiritually, in every single way possible. They must feel so downtrodden and just so broken from this. So broken.
Descent that's accelerated since the rampage by Hamas on October the 7th last year. The killing and abduction to Gaza of hundreds of Israelis provoked outrage and a brutal response. Amid Israel's wrath, tens of thousands of Palestinians have been killed and thousands detained for interrogation. Transported to facilities like Detention, where one Israeli guard now tells CNN prisoners are routinely beaten. We've hidden his identity and voice too.
You can take them out and hit them maybe 4 or 5 times with a club. It's not done in the face, so you don't see blood. The detainees lie belly down, being hit and kicked, people screaming and dogs barking at them. It's terrifying. Some detainees are taken away and beaten really hard, so bones and teeth are broken.
So you saw people who were subject to these beatings, who had their bones broken and who had their teeth broken.
Yes, it's a practice which commanders know about. They want intelligence, but they also want revenge and punishment for what happened on October 7th.
The Israeli military hasn't approved CNN's requests for access to Detention. But at the gates of the facility, we challenged the Israeli guards.
I've just stopped it there, guys. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Those men just there were, again, we're saying that humans are being treated worse than livestock, worse than animals. That just shows you. I mean, they're just thrown into a back of a car, pretty much naked, blindfolded. It's heartbreaking. And when you see those clips of children being pulled out of rubble, if your heart doesn't break, if your tears don't get triggered by that, it's very concerning. There are people that are still denying that there's any issue with what Israel's doing right now. They have a right to defend themselves from October 7th. I mean, if that is your justification, I just don't know if you can be called a human if you don't have the basic decency to look at that and say, that is disgusting. That behavior is just not okay. We can condemn it on the other side too. Look, yes, Hamas did some terrible things, whatever it might have been. I honestly, personally have not seen footage of exactly what occurred. And we really don't have any way of confirming if the footage is real that was put out. Because, of course, it was only released by the IDF. There was no footage from anybody else on the event to show that Hamas was doing those particular things. But again, this is all alleged. However, when we look at the other side, we have footage from the IDF proving that they're doing these despicable things, plus from the Palestinian side, plus from independent journalists. So why people always try to say, well, why would you not believe the other side? I mean, it's just we have to look at the facts and the information we have. And if you only have one source of information, everyone's so quick to condemn dictatorships, and they're so quick to condemn countries like Russia and China, and they don't realize that Israel is even, I would say, worse of a dictatorship when it comes to propaganda and lies and deceit to their own people, let alone the world. And this war just definitely proves it. So, very concerning stuff.
How many Palestinian people are in there right now? Don't know the answer.
Do you know if they're being handcuffed? Are they being blindfolded?
No.
This is a facility.
As we leave, masked soldiers approach.
Hello. How are you?
I'm filming this place.
It's a property
Of the army.
Oh.
So
Who are you guys? From CNN.
Give me please.
They try to take our cameras.
Give me please now. Give me please now.
Hang on, what is it that you want? My camera or my card?
Then order us to leave. Well, we're driving now to meet one Israeli with personal experience of the Sadeh Taman facility. It's experience that he says has left him shocked at the condition and the medical treatment of Palestinian detainees there. Hello. He told us he treated Palestinian detainees with gunshot wounds fresh from the war zone in Gaza, but was appalled at the lack of equipment and expertise.
The problem is, Gazans who are brought in are labeled as terrorists, and it is very popular opinion over here that terrorists deserve to die, so they do not deserve the same medical care as everyone else.
Satellite imagery obtained by CNN shows how the Sedi Taman facility was expanded after the October 7th attacks, with detention facilities and makeshift medical bays being added after public hospitals in Israel refused to treat injured Gazan suspects.
Just quickly, what are they hiding? What are they scared of people finding out about? Little do they know that there's some whistleblowers going around spreading exactly what is going on, the truth behind those walls and behind the barbed wire. But they are terrified to speak the truth about what they actually are doing. They should probably remind those soldiers that are TikToking everything at the moment, though. Might need to give them a bit of, media one-on-one, how to, represent the IDF course. Or just no phones on the ground.
Eyewitness accounts describe a field hospital with 15 to 20 patients, virtually naked and blindfolded, with hands and feet shackled to their beds and wearing diapers. One eyewitness told CNN painful procedures were carried out by underqualified medics. Treatment the medical worker told us amounts to punishment.
In my view, it's the idea of total vulnerability. If you imagine being unable to move, being unable to see what's going on, that's something that borders, if not crosses, into psychological torture.
The Israeli military says prisoners are stripped for security checks and that investigations are opened when there's suspicion of misconduct. Still, accounts from Israelis and Palestinians inside and the shocking images paint a disturbing picture. Matthew Chance, CNN, at Sedi Taman in southern Israel.
Disturbing, all right. Disturbing, all right. And that gentleman was so correct. The not just physical trauma, it's the psychological trauma. And the fact is, when you look at the footage of what's going on over there, the people in Gaza, the people currently suffering something that is just unimaginable. Even if this war was to end tomorrow, psychologically, it's not even just physically in their homes, obviously rebuilding, just all of the things that come with recovering infrastructure and basic needs after a severe conflict or disaster that we see, when things happen around the world. It's not just those simple things. It's always the psychological effect on people that carries on for years to come. I was watching something recently, funnily enough, of a gentleman talking about in New Orleans about the Hurricane Katrina that went through. And that was such a long time ago now. I can't remember exactly when it was, so forgive me, but So pop it down below if you guys can remember and jog my memory. But he literally said, you know, such a long time ago now, he was a teenager when it happened. Now he's a grown adult with his own kids. And still to this day, it's over 10 years, still to this day, he is affected by that mentally. He has nightmares about it. He always relives those memories and the things that he saw, the bodies, the people suffering, dying in front of his eyes. He still replays that in his mind to this day. Now, not to say that one's worse than the other, but just look at the devastation that the people of Gaza are currently surrounded by. I just couldn't think of any way that I personally could recover from something like that, from having to pull my family's body parts, not even their body parts out from rubble and put them back together to bury them, from, you know, not even finding your family members, your children. You know, you find their teddy bear, but not them. They're buried somewhere under tons of rubble. It's just horrific. It's just mind-blowing that this is occurring and the world is sitting back and watching. So that's all for that video. Again, today was just about pushing this video out even further. We want this truth to get out there. We want people to wake up to what's going on. So, you know, share if you can, let people know what is truly occurring out in Gaza at the moment, in Israel, how these Palestinian people are being completely just, I don't even know how to explain how they're being treated. It's just terrifying. We need to wake up. We need to all band together and call this out and ensure that our governments, number one, do not give any more of our money to this cause. It is not a just cause. If you think that's just, there's an issue. And number two, we need to ensure that this is stopped, that it does not go on for any longer, that we do not continue to see these atrocities against these people continuously perpetrated and played out on the world stage without doing anything about it. And number three, that we put our foot down now so that we do not allow something like this to happen again in the very near future, because it's only a matter of time. They're always looking for a new trigger point, whether it be a new virus, bird flu, a new war, conflict, China. There's always something that they're using as a fear tactic to launch us into another escalated conflict, another escalated lockdown, pandemic, whatever it might be. They're always trying to find something new to keep us locked in fear, locked in our homes, blinded, to stay away from the truth, whatever their sneaky agenda is. So let's all wake up, band together, and call this despicable behavior out. Thank you again for joining me today, guys. Again, I hope to see you very soon on my next video. I love you all. God bless, and please stay safe. Bye for now.